Welcome to another episode of the Rank 'em Podcast. Thanks for joining us, wherever it is, however it is you are listening to us. We certainly do appreciate it. I am Garrett Seawright. You can find me on Twitter at Garrett Seawright. You can find the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Rank 'em Podcast. And we are available wherever it is you listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star review, like, subscribe, share with your friends. However you can help us out, we certainly do appreciate it. And it really does help. Joining me as always, co-host John Garwood.
Hey, dog, before you start this video, make sure you like and subscribe and share with all your friends.
What's up, guys? So as you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about our favorite YouTubers, YouTube channels today. But before we do that, we are recording this. It's 11:39 in the morning, and Don has just started his second breakfast beer of the day.
Yeah, Blue Moon Light Sky Citrus Wheat,
which
is a very light breakfast beer.
I was going to say, which you can tell was not made for men because it's in those tall, slender cans that tiny little girls, their baby hands.
Are you saying that
hold.
Keystone isn't made for men?
Pretty much, yep.
Oh.
But actually, before I make fun of you, can I try that?
Yeah, there's more in the fridge.
Wow. Okay.
Do you want to try it live on pre-recorded air?
Yes. Because then I'll know if I want to steal one from the fridge or not. I can't put my lips on
you can't steal it. Like it'd be like $2.50.
Oh, okay, that's terrible.
Really?
I know it's tangerine, but it tastes like grapefruit, and I hate grapefruit, so
It doesn't taste like grapefruit.
Yes, it does.
It tastes like
Tangerine
wheat.
Which who wouldn't eat a tangerine wheat sandwich? Tangerine on wheat bread. Who wouldn't eat that sandwich?
Right.
So that's
I'll drink that beer.
That's fair. Much different. So we are going to rank our favorite YouTubers today. And I imagine we're going to have very vastly different lists.
Very different.
Because as you can probably guess from our Halloween episode, I didn't even know who Dr. Disrespect was, and that was Don's. That was Don's costume.
So now we know when this video is coming out. After the Halloween episode.
Before I started that sentence, I knew
Okay.
where this. I was like, okay, so we got to wait till the first week of November at least for this. But yeah, I didn't even know who Dr. Disrespect was. I was like, I had to Google what that was. So I think we're gonna have very different lists here. So Don, I will allow you to go first.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's the kind of guy I am. So you're number 5 YouTuber.
My number 5, and we decided we were going to do YouTube channels, I think earlier this week, and we kind of put in place yesterday that we were going to do it this morning. I decided that I was going to only pick YouTube channels that I subscribe to and that I already subscribed to yesterday.
Correct.
You, on the other hand, subscribe to 0 YouTube channels.
I subscribe to no YouTube channels.
Help no one out.
Correct.
Gotcha.
They get my view, and that's it.
So my number 5 is someone that I started following during quarantine, and it's Rick Shields Golf. So he is
just the look on your face. Like, I know how absurd that sounds.
Right. So he is like a former PGA pro. Mm-hmm. And I think that you just have to hit a certain handicap and probably play in an event to be considered like a PGA pro.
He wasn't, winning millions of dollars every year on the tour.
So he's just like a pro at like a golf course now. So like he does training and all that. And he puts out like 3 videos a week that are either of him like trying out new clubs, which is kind of nice to watch. And then you look at the price of the clubs and you're like, why would I spend $700 on a pitching wedge?
Right. When I got all my clubs at a garage sale for $4 to
right.
begin with, and that included the bag.
And then he'll do videos where, like certain challenge videos where he's like, I'm going to shoot this par 5 with only my sand wedge or my pitching wedge or something like that. And he also has a bunch of tips that have actually helped me because during quarantine, I decided that if I got the chance, I was going to golf this summer. And so this year I golfed like 4 times, which is the most I've golfed
I was going to say,
in like
which
10
is
years.
4 times more than I have the last.
Right. since high school, probably. Definitely since college, the most I've golfed.
It's expensive and you need patience and.
I'm not good at it.
Right. Nobody that
but
tries.
You know, once every couple holes, I'll hit like a real good shot, and that hooks me right back.
Right,
in.
and you're like, yeah, you know what? I could get good at this. No, you can't.
But some of his videos, like how to cure my slice, worked really well, and so some of it's super
He saved
helpful.
me like $12 in golf balls this summer because
Right.
I didn't have to go in the woods to find them.
Well, no, I still hit them out into the field and don't go look for them.
Right,
But
you're an American.
Right. I still go golfing with like 30 balls because I'm going to lose an average of one per hole.
I was going to say, I'm going to lose 18 golf balls.
You just don't count those strokes. You say,
right.
If it were straight, it would have gone about 250 yards right down the middle. So we'll drop right around
So
here.
let me pull my card up right here in the middle of the fairway.
Right.
But if it's dog leg, let me get to a little farther out of the fairway. Because, I'm a pro. Like,
Right. I use that foot wedge.
Right. The old foot wedge. So he's helped your golf game.
He is, and he's British, and
That's always pleasant.
British or Irish. It's kind of a little bit of Scottish. It's a weird accent, and it kind of changes from time to time.
He's from some sort of island in the north.
I think he's from North Britain, and so he's got a very trustworthy, very trustworthy voice.
All right. So that's Don's number 5. My number 5. I love this channel for all the wrong reasons, and there's a couple of those here. It's a channel on YouTube called Dan's Cig Reviews, where there's a guy who is a lifelong smoker, where he reviews cigarettes, and it's hilarious to me because no matter what, this guy who's been smoking for 40 years coughs horribly in every episode, and it's like, allergies kicking back up, like. No, you smoke for 40 years. Like, he'll take a drag and then allergies, man. It's just allergies are ridiculous right now. Like, no, I don't think that's your problem, big guy. But he talks about cigarettes the way like smart people talk about wine or people talk about food or cheese or whatever. And it's like, how are you doing that? Like, it's got a nice mild flavor in your mouth. It's got a good smoke that goes down nice and clean. And like, you're the white, like you're a white trash sommelier. Like, how are you doing that? But it's amazing, like, because it's just a dude with his iPhone in his truck, just smoking cigarettes, and yet at times it's incredibly smart, but also you are very well aware that this man is killing himself for YouTube views. So I love it for all.
He was going to be killing himself without the YouTube views.
Right, that's true. He might as well make a little scratch on the side. But it's just amazing to me that he can sit there and be like, it's a very mild flavor. I like he like chomps on it a bit, like he's, like people do wine tasting and they swish it around in their mouth. That is how he smokes cigarettes on this YouTube channel, and they're nice short videos. I like them very much.
Well, it only takes like 3 minutes to smoke a cigarette, so
but
you can't have a 20-minute review on one cigarette.
Well, I get that.
I guess you could,
but he just talks about cigarettes the way people talk about fine wine or cheese or dessert or food or whatever. And
interesting.
He just loves him trying new cigarettes. So that's my number 5.
Who do you got 4?
I have a nice young lady. Her name is Katina. And Katina eats kilos
of
food. She is probably 5'2" and 120 pounds, and she does eating challenges. So she goes around the country looking. So she's basically like Man versus Food, except she's a 5'2", 120 pound girl who will eat 4-pound steak, 6 shrimp cocktails, a baked potato, a side salad, and 2 rolls in 38 minutes. And you're like, how you doing that?
I forgot about Man versus Food.
Great show.
I had to look him up to see kind of what he looks like.
Adam Richmond?
And he looks like Courage JD, who you don't know who that is,
I don't know.
But someone might.
But this chick, she's basically Man versus Food.
Does she also get super high before she goes and eats? Because people were talking about how the guy who did Man vs. Food
He always
would
blazed out of
would
his
like go
mind.
there and like tour the restaurant, and go into his trailer for a half an hour, come out with just super bloodshot
Right.
eyes, and then
he-
ready
real hungry.
right.
And no wonder he can eat so much. No, she just she eats like a super healthy diet outside of that, and I think she just likes the challenge of going to eat. Like I watched a couple videos where her and her now boyfriend, who's also like a competitive eating guy, they went to Alaska together and ate like a 9-pound breakfast challenge and stuff like that. And it's like, how do you do that? So it's fascinating to me that some 5'2", 120-pound girl pumps that out enough that she's doing YouTube videos like on the reg,
Right.
and is still that small.
Huh.
Like, watching them, my brother is like, I think I'm in love. Oh my gosh. Like, all right, Zach, down. He's like, I'm almost there. Like, okay, that's enough of that. She finished 11 pasta bowls at Olive Garden. Okay, that's down, boy. So that's my number 4.
Gotcha. So my number 4, since you asked, was he has his own YouTube channel, but he also does a lot of like freelance videos for another YouTube channel, and that's actually how I found him. But his YouTube channel is Ryan George, just literally his name. And he does like skits with himself. And I think I've shown you some of his videos.
Is he the...
So they do pitch meetings.
I was going to say, is he the pitch meeting
Yeah.
guy?
So the pitch meetings are on a YouTube channel called Screen Rant.
Yeah.
And he does those videos for him, and it's like...
Where he makes fun of, like, the premise of Jurassic Park.
Right. So it's like, oh, Jurassic Park pitch meeting. And so he's playing like this movie executive and also the writer of the movie. So he's like, oh, so you have a movie for me? Yes, sir. It's Jurassic Park. He says, oh, what's the premise? He goes, oh, well, these guys like clone the dinosaurs. Oh, and people go and visit it? Right. Oh, and I'm sure everything just goes perfectly
It's
well.
nice and safe.
Well, actually, now that you say that, the dinosaurs get out and eat people. Oh, so they evacuate the island. Nope, they just keep sending more in. It's like, oh, really?
That's not the logical thing to do. Of course not, but it's a movie.
Right. And why would they do that? Oh, because it's a movie, sir. It's like, oh, so why did these two characters have a relationship together? Oh, because they're the stars. Oh, that makes sense. Why am I supposed to care about these people? Well, because they're the stars and they're attractive. Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
And so it's just like him, kind of like another one that I'm going to have in my honorable mentions, but where they just kind of like tear movies apart, but in a very funny way.
Right.
And so he has other skits where it's like himself playing, like one that he just recently did was the first day as a police interrogator. And so it's actually 3 of them. It's like him as a rookie cop, him as like a veteran cop, and then him as the criminal. And so they're having all these conversations, and then him as the veteran cop's like, hey, let's just be friends here. You know, you help us out, we'll help you out, get a reduced sentence. And then the rookie cop's like, oh, yeah, we're friends. So what's your name? And like, where did you go to school and all this stuff? And trying to be friends. They're very funny videos, and they're like 3 minutes long.
Right. I was going to say, none of them are horribly long. Like he gets right to the point, and they're funny. That's it.
They are very funny.
That's a good call.
So that's what I got it for.
My number 3, I love. It's again, I love it for the wrong reasons. The channel is called Simply Sarah's Kitchen, and Sarah lives in Eastern Kentucky. If I had to guess,
Simply Sarah's.
Simply Sarah's.
Simply.
She probably weighs 450 pounds. I'm not 100% certain that I don't think the elevator goes all the way to the top.
Gotcha.
So she makes.
So it might be Simple Sarah.
People might call her Simple Sarah, but her name is Simply Sarah's Kitchen on YouTube, and she makes just down home cooking, and she's trying to be healthy. She was vegetarian there for a while, trying the whole vegan thing, trying to lose some weight. So she makes down home cooking that it's basically Paula Deen if Paula Deen lived in a trailer park. A lot of butter, a lot of onion powder, garlic powder. Everything in every dish. She'd be making pancakes. She's like, and we like olive garlic powder and onion powder in this house. She makes just the fattiest dishes you could imagine. And I also enjoy that people will then copycat her recipes and eat them and be like, "Oh God, no! what are you doing?" So, for instance, she put like sweetened condensed milk in her macaroni salad.
Gross.
Yeah, and a dude made it and was like, "This is like," he made the whole. It's like, I can't. Like, he almost puked on the second bite. He's like, "It's disgusting." But that's it's just the entire, and she makes a couple episodes a week. If she doesn't know how to edit her videos, I don't think so. If she's putting something in the oven, she just come back for video too. So she
and hard stop
pretty much, and then she picks it right back up. Welcome back to video 2. It's out of the oven. Look at it.
Well, that's how she hooks you and gets more views. You wanted to see how that abomination turned out.
Oh no, absolutely.
So you watched the next video.
But I was boycotting her for a while because it literally got to the point of she's like, "It's my strawberry surprise," and she just cut up some strawberries, put evaporated milk over it, and that was her cooking video. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Fuck that. This is ridiculous. If you can't put in more effort than pouring evaporated milk over cut up strawberries, I'm done. But now I'm back.
The surprise is that it tastes like shit.
But now she's all like a gluten-free kick or air fryer, and she's got a horribly messy, cluttered kitchen where there's just spices and gadgets all over the place. And I love it because, one, it makes me feel better about myself, but then, two, I can just shut my brain off and watch her make the dumbest, like the pot is always like overfilled, like it's just a disaster. So every time.
So it's kind of like going to the drive-in movie theaters. Like you go there and instantly feel better about yourself. You're like, I hit the genetic lottery.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep. So that's my number 3. And I know I'm a bad person for enjoying it for that reason, but
I have got at my number 3, and they start to get a little, well, they're still pretty niche, I guess. But at number 3, I've got Michael Reeves.
Michael Reeves on my honorable mention.
Who the very first video of his that I saw was Trigger Me Elmo, and I think I sent it to like you and our other friends.
Yeah.
But what he did is he took an Elmo doll, and he has like an little engineering background and then computer coding background. So he takes this Elmo doll, hollows out the inside of it, and then makes like moving parts to make his mouth talk, and then puts a camera inside one of his eyeballs and writes this software so that it will look at you, figure out what race you are,
decipher
and then
race.
start yelling racial slurs at you.
And it was, there's a point in that video where he got the guy who did the Elmo voice is like laughing between takes, being like, "God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this in an Elmo voice." But that is so funny. And then there's like he just goes on from there.
He has one that he did that it's a Roomba, but when it crashes into like walls or stuff like that, it yells out like "fuck," "shit."
Damn it! Turn the lights on,
right?
And all sorts of stuff.
And so like he took it to like Kmart, or I think it was a Target.
Yeah,
Kmart really isn't the thing anymore.
Target.
Took it to a Target, and would go up to people and be like, "Hey, I have a new product that I'd like to get your opinion on." And he puts it down and turns it on, and it like runs into a shelf and just yells out, "Fuck!" Some of the people, because he'll go up, he doesn't care. He goes up to like 80-year-old ladies and asks them what they think of it, and then he'll go up to like a 20-year-old couple and like, "Would you buy this?" Like, "Yes, I would absolutely buy that." And then he eventually got kicked out of the Target.
Yeah, there's another one that I enjoy that like he wired up to if somebody flips on a light in a room, drones turn on and attack whoever walks in the room.
He put facial recognition on the drone cameras. So the lights being on just allow them to see a face. But essentially, if the drones see a face, they take off and just ram as fast as they can into that face.
And testing that was but he's got like 5.5 million subscribers because he just, which
Now he has a Twitch channel, so you can like watch him live doing this stuff.
Of the ways to make a living, like I wish I could be that guy. That like you just think up the craziest like computer generated prank.
I think his very first one, his very first video is a robot that shines a laser in your eyes. So he had facial recognition software, and then it would pinpoint his eye and shine like a little laser pointer at it. Then he used that same build, turned it into this robot shoots me with an airsoft rifle whenever I lose health in Fortnite. Does it make me a better Fortnite player? No.
But like, so the premise is just stupid, but the execution is phenomenal. Like it's the just the dumbest things you can think of using computer and facial recognition and all of that technology for, and I enjoy it immensely.
Right. Just looking here, a gas-powered fishing pole, a Scream-powered microwave.
He
does a bunch of stuff with tasers, like a bunch of stuff with tasers. Like he did one, and this is the last video I'll talk about here. He did one where he didn't like being the shortest person in pictures, so he like made people like put on these essentially like electro pads that he told them was like microphones or whatever. Everybody knew that they were tasers, but what it did is as soon as like the camera starts to take a picture, it sends electric current into all of those people, so then they either fall down or bend over in pain, and he's the tallest one in the picture.
That's outstanding. But you're right. That is a great. Like I said, I've got him in my honorable mention. You've got him at number 3. It's outstanding.
Yeah,
it really is. My number 2, I unnaturally love the slow-mo guys.
Okay.
So it's Gav and Dan are the slow-mo guys, and they get slow-motion cameras. And like
the slow motion camera, like
the
$35,000 slow motion cameras,
right? That like some of these cameras can't record for longer than 5 seconds because the files that they're saving are so massive. Because the pixels are like they've got so many, like the definition, like the HD is super HD at 80,000 frames a second or whatever, and it's just the things. So then it's similar to Michael Reeves. They just do the most ridiculous things they can think of with these slow motion cameras. So there's videos of, them basically fruit ninja-ing things in real life where they've got a samurai sword and they just slice watermelons at 30,000 frames a second. Or they filled a subwoofer with paint and then played like rap music and watched it go up and down slow motion, and it's mesmerizing what they do. Like the slow motion video is mesmerizing, but then the build up to this is the most ridiculous thing that you could possibly imagine doing with slow motion cameras. And they do it.
So Gavin Free, who is the main person in Slow Mo Guys that runs the camera and everything, he's actually worked on like major movies. So he did slow motion work for Hot Fuzz, Sherlock Holmes, the Snow White and the Huntsman, and then Dread, and then also like Top Gear. So he kind of really pioneered like the slow motion stuff on YouTube, and then kind of got work from that in Hollywood doing that as well, or vice versa. But he's also in like other super popular YouTube channels. So he's in like a group called Achievement Hunter, which is a part of Rooster Teeth, and Rooster Teeth made like Red versus Blue, the Halo miniseries. So gotcha. He's also known for that stuff, and that's where I knew him before he did Slow Mo Guys. But yeah, Slow Mo Guys is ridiculously good. One of the ones that I think of is they've shattered glass to see if that's... So there's a scene in The Matrix where like Neo takes off, and then they have it in super slow motion, and the glass like in the buildings waves before it shatters. And they tested something similar, and they could see the waves in the glass before the glass breaks. And they didn't have that technology in 1998 when they were making The Matrix.
They just were.
But they got it right with like the movement in the glass and stuff.
Like there's two of my favorite videos. One is they put 1,000 mousetraps on a trampoline, and then had one guy jump in.
Dan jump on it.
And it's the slow-mo. When you see pain in slow-mo, it's really, really funny. And that's sadistic, but I don't care. And then another one is they hit Dan in the face
with a soccer ball
over and over and over again with a soccer ball, and you can see his face like shift to the left.
You can see the skin leave his
like
skull.
His nose bends so much that you're like, I didn't know that was how that worked, but you just see his so his head stays in the same spot, but his entire face shifts like 40 degrees offline. You're like, oh God, no.
Have you seen the ones where they pop the balloons? Because that's super interesting. Where they pop a water balloon, and the way the water balloon pops is it just starts a crack, and then it completely unwraps itself and goes back.
It snaps really quick.
It snaps, and the water stays in the same place.
Shape for just a moment.
What seems like forever.
Right, but they've done like stuff as simple as like, we're gonna pop popcorn in a pan.
Yep.
And you just see that video is just mesmerizing to me, and so that is why I and like 14 million other people love the slow-mo guys. That's my number 2.
So my number 2 is the Pat McAfee show.
See, I thought I was like, do I just put like Dan Patrick at number 1? I love the Dan Patrick show, but I didn't do that. But
so I've got the Pat McAfee show on here, which is kind of a sports talk show, but it's very mature, especially now that he moved to satellite radio.
No, it's
so
immature.
It
is
rated
adult flavored
yes
sports talk.
And so Pat McAfee was a punter for the Indianapolis Colts, retired, and then kind of went into like this online media stuff, and has kind of grown podcasts and now a radio show, and does guest picking on like Saturdays for College Game Day. And he hosts a show like 4 days, might be 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 hours long, and they stream the whole thing on YouTube as well. And it's just super interesting because he is very much like Graham Norton in that he gets people comfortable, and they say stuff to him that they would never say to anybody else interviewing him. Aaron Rodgers is on a show every Tuesday.
It's like sports Howard Stern.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers told him. He goes, "You're like
it's true.
You're the sports version of Howard Stern." And so Aaron Rodgers is on a show every Tuesday for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and they get him to say like one super clippable thing every time that every media outlet takes, because Aaron Rodgers
told the Pat McAfee show today that he
a down year for him is a career year for every other quarterback.
You're like, well, that's true.
That's not untrue. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't like the media really and doesn't talk to them. So the Pat McAfee show is really the only place where they can get any information about Aaron Rodgers. And since he's been doing it, I've started liking Aaron Rodgers a lot more. And I
didn't like Old Man Rodgers before.
I didn't hate Aaron Rodgers as much as I did originally. After he replaced Brett Favre.
After he usurped Brett Favre.
Yeah.
No, they made the right decision there.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about that now. But yes, I would agree. But him being on that show and listening to him talk was very similar. Do you remember we were at your house when I was in college, and Aaron Rodgers was giving an interview? He's like, "Yeah, I get toilet papered and stuff like that. Living in Green Bay is great. You know, it's kind of got like a small town vibe to it." And we were sitting there, and we're like, "Who the hell would toilet paper Aaron Rodgers? Let's go toilet paper Old Man Rodgers."
You guys want to go toilet paper Old Man Rodgers? Yep. Yes, I do.
But so the Pat McAfee show, the range of stuff that they cover, and the fact that they don't really, you get a bunch of inside information. So he's like, "Oh, I was on the plane trip back from London, and I took like 20 edibles before I got on the plane and was just rolling balls." It's like, you get drug tested once in the NFL, and after that, it's only for performance-enhancing drugs. So you just have to pass your July drug test, and then you're free till next July, unless you get in trouble.
Right.
But just hearing the inner workings of the NFL and other sports. He did interviews with NBA players in the bubble and stuff like that, and they were really, really good. And you just get a whole different insight, and everybody's unfiltered.
So that's Don's number 2. Before we do our number 1s, we're going to do our honorable mentions. I already said Michael Reeves on my honorable mentions, just because I haven't watched like enough of his videos to, but he's really funny, and from a technical standpoint, it's insane what he can do. I also have Kara and Nate on my honorable mention. I don't love them nearly as much as producer Ashley, my wife, does, but they are a couple from Tennessee who have spent the last 4 years traveling. Sold all their stuff.
Do they live in a bus?
They do now.
Or a van?
They bought a van and fixed it up. And
so I pulled up your YouTube on your TV to pull up a different thing, and the very first thing that popped up was like, how we start our mornings.
Yep, I'm sure it was a Karen.
Is she hot?
She's not bad.
Let me take a look.
They're both attractive. Nate's a good
Okay, yes,
dude.
this is who I thought she was. Van life, our daily routine on the road.
Yes, so they bought a van because they were about to be stuck in like Vietnam right as COVID started, and they were like, they got out like the last flight of Thailand or some Southeast Asian country, and then lived in Tennessee for a month, and we're like, you know what, like let's just buy a van and drive around North America. Like, okay, that's fine. But for the last 4 years, they've been to 100 different countries and chronicling their journeys the entire time. And my wife and I enjoy traveling and talking about traveling and watching other people travel, apparently, more than we like going on our own. She's sitting right here. So
she won't even go an hour down the road to get Chick-fil-A.
Right. Like, she doesn't like, oh, I don't know.
But she wants to watch these assholes drive to the Grand Canyon.
Right, exactly. Drive from Tennessee to Arizona. Great, honey, thanks. And then my final honorable mention is a channel that I don't even know why I like it. I just do. It's called Man Plus River.
Okay, I have Man Plus River on my honorable mention.
I love Man Plus River, and I have no, like...
And the guy's super annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't particularly like him in the videos, and that's weird.
But for those that don't know Man Plus River, this guy's got a GoPro. He lives decently close to a decently clean river, and he just goes scuba diving in the river with a metal detector and sees what he can find.
Yep.
And then if there's like the amount of
iPhones,
right, the amount of phones and Bluetooth speakers that this guy finds,
sunglasses,
sunglasses, Bluetooth speakers, and iPhones. And so if he can, he tries to save the iPhones and get them back.
He'll pull the SIM card out and find the phone number and call them,
or find pictures and post them and be like, "Do you know who this?" Or he finds a lot of GoPros, but a ton of sunglasses,
and trash that he
usually a lot of like Coke cans or right? So he's just got a metal detector with a light on it that it blinks when it sees metal. So I don't know how many times that dude's probably like, "Oh my gosh, I found something," and it's a Coke can or whatever. But finds a lot of phones, a lot of sunglasses, a lot of portable speakers.
Knives. He's found guns. Well, the one time he got it on the news because he found a gun and called the police and they came and got it. And it was a real sketchy thing. It was like an army book bag with a knife and a gun and a bunch of ammo in it and shit. And you're like,
I think I should let someone know.
I have them on my honorable mention as well. That's a really fun channel.
It is the best part is when he finds a phone and can get it back to the original owner, and there's like two reactions. One person is like either you're like, "Hey, thanks, appreciate that," or they're like so eternally grateful that I had pictures of my grandma and she died on it. Like, okay.
And then he gives them a shirt. Said, "I also got you this shirt,"
and they're like, "Okay." But I like Man Plus River.
Now look at the camera and say Man Plus River.
So those are my honorable mentions. What is on your list?
So I have Man Plus River on my honorable mention list. I also have Cinema Sins on my honorable mention list. And they do reviews for movies, but kind of not reviews.
Like everything that's wrong with The Dark Knight.
Right. So everything wrong with Air Force One in 15 minutes or less. And so then they'll go through it and they'll be like, "Oh, Harrison Ford does this." that's one sin. Let me go to one that I've actually seen because that one just got released. But yeah, like you said, everything wrong with the Shawshank Redemption. And it's like,
and it's stuff you've never even considered about.
Right. It's like, what if Andy Dufresne didn't get the picture of the super hot girl, but got one of a motorcycle, and the warden didn't like the motorcycle and took it down when he's halfway through building it? That's a sin. Or what if he doesn't throw this rock and it hits the poster and rips through it? And so he just like calls out all of the BS in these movies.
Well, because you're not watching that movie looking for plot holes or whatever.
Or
but
a sin for this minute and a half opening credits or random narration, and every time the movie title is mentioned in the movie, it's an automatic sin, and he goes, and roll credits. But his channel is really good, and he has a really really deep, kind of like that James Earl Jones type of voice that kind of I don't know the right word that I'm trying to say. I want to say entrances, but that's not right.
No, I think
that's a word that we can use.
Yeah.
And then the last one that I have on my honorable mention list is very niche as well, and it's Team 4-Star. And I haven't watched them as much in about the last year because they kind of stopped doing the content that I subscribed for. And what they did is, now I've still watched some of their stuff and it's still really good, but there was an anime called Dragon Ball, which you may have heard of, even if you haven't seen it, Dragon Ball Z. And so what they did is they started like 10, 15 years ago. They started over and like redubbed it.
Gotcha.
But also made it very funny. And so like the first season of Dragon Ball, which was like 30 episodes, is like 10 episodes in this. So they like abridge a bunch of stuff and make up a bunch of details and storylines for all these characters. But then you still hit the same main points that they hit in the original series because they're just, all the action and everything's still the same. They're just overdubbing the lines. So they make people super stupid that aren't supposed to be stupid. Gotcha. And it's really funny and really enjoyable. But they stopped doing it because they were getting they got to the point where computers were good enough and art was good enough to where they would like modify mouth flaps and completely create new scenes from scratch. And it was they were coming out with like one a year.
Gotcha.
So they
better be good.
Right.
If you're busting out one a year.
So that's my honorable mention.
All right, so we are up to our number ones of our favorite YouTube channels, YouTubers. My number one is Good Mythical Morning. It's Rhett and Link are the two guys who do it, and they are originally from North Carolina, and they moved to LA, and they work for YouTube to create fun stuff on their channel. A lot of it is, and I think it's because a lot of people are like me, they've kind of switched almost to a food channel where they rank or make tournaments or do blind taste tests of like who's got the best fast food chicken sandwich, or who's got the best soup, like what fast food restaurant's got the best soup or whatever. And they do tournaments and they do brackets and blind taste tests, or they try to decide are these Oreos or are they Hydrox cookies and things like that. That I find very funny and enjoyable to watch. So Good Mythical Morning is my number one. They're generally like 15-minute videos where they have steak from Texas Roadhouse and Outback Steakhouse and Logan's Steakhouse, and decide who has the best steak of chain restaurants or things like that. And I enjoy watching them do that on the internet.
So I'm aware of who Rhett and Link are. I don't like them.
Okay. They probably don't like you.
Well, no, that's fine.
They're
but like I just can't.
Stupid face with his eyes and nose.
I feel the same about them.
Mouth.
But I just can't get behind them.
All right.
Like the super over the top kind of
See, I don't
geared towards kids stuff. I don't get it, but then my number one is a very over the top person as well, and that is Dr. Disrespect.
Who I didn't even know what that was till
Right.
recently.
Like I kind of shit on Rhett and Link for being over the top and geared towards kids, while Dr. Disrespect dresses up with a mullet wig and an army tactical vest and plays video games and with like his Google prototype scope sunglasses
And just yells a lot.
Yeah, and just rages.
Like, that is exactly what happens.
Pretty much. And he's very divisive as well, in that I really like him. Our friend Reese enjoys him. Keywan doesn't like him really that much. And then, so, I mean, and then Mad Pup doesn't like him either. So there's like all four tiers of liking him kind of in our group there. But trying to describe what he does, so his whole thing is like violence, speed, and momentum, and he's legitimately 6'8", and apparently
I didn't realize he was that.
Yeah, and apparently legitimately has a 37-inch vertical. So he's an athlete, but his whole thing is like violence, speed, and momentum, and just tries to embarrass people in like these video games, and he's pretty good at them. But he live streams on YouTube as well and averages like 40 to 50,000 viewers
At a time.
at any given point. When he got banned from Twitch for reasons that we don't know yet, but for like a month. And so when he started streaming on YouTube, he had like 250,000 or 300,000 people. It might have been up towards 500,000 people watching him at one time on his first stream back to streaming.
Great, like, because, like, NASCAR Xfinity Series race will have like 150,000 people watching, and this dude's just playing video games on YouTube, and there's 500,000 people watching.
He's extremely entertaining, and so he kind of he draws in a bunch of people. He also draws in a bunch of toxic people, but
so that's fun to watch too.
Yeah, I mean it's extremely entertaining, and that's the YouTube channel that I spend probably the most time watching.
Didn't he start streaming with Odell Beckham Jr. on like Tuesdays or something like that?
He streamed, so the very first day that Odell streamed, he streamed with Odell, and Odell's I think Odell just decided he was going to get into streaming, and so his manager reached out to people.
Is like, I need the biggest dude. Like, who's
so he streamed with Doc once. He streamed with like Call of Duty pros, like who you don't know, who are like Scump and Nate Shot and all those guys.
The fact that exists is mind blowing to me.
Call of Duty pros?
Yeah, like that's amazing. Like not like them damn kids need to get outside and play with sticks and balls. Like no, it's just like there are people who make their living playing video games, and that's like I wish I could be remotely as good as that.
We can talk more about that in the reaction show.
We will talk funny about that, because if there's something I wish I could do, like, could I just sit around and play Red Dead Redemption 2 all day? If somebody could pay me for that with my dog in my lap, I would enjoy it. Let me do that, please. So those are our favorite YouTube channels. We'll talk more in the reaction show about how we all dream we wish we could be professional video game players.
There you go.
Don is on Twitter at Donnie_G. Don, thanks as always for joining me.
Hey, you betcha.
And I am on Twitter at Garrett Seawright. You can find the podcast at Rankum Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we are wherever it is you listen to your podcast. So give us a 5-star review, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Tell them that we're completely adequate and it's above average podcast. And we'll catch you next time right here.